Wild card weekend officially done. Alex, final thoughts for you on just what transpired this weekend. The Rams absolutely blowing out the Cardinals yesterday. It's final thoughts from wild card weekend for you.
Final thoughts. I mean, this is recency bias because I just saw this, but can we stop with the Kyler Murray returning to baseball? Zeno, I know you sent out a tweet last night. It's probably a joke, but I really was watching TV today, and people were talking about, well, if he went to baseball, he'd be the biggest star. First of all, ridiculous statement there, but also Kyler Murray is. Come on, he's 24 years old. He's 24 years old. Made his first playoff start. It was terrible, but come on, he's 24 years old. Let's cut the kid a break.
Yeah.
Zeno, you tweeted out he's going back to baseball?
No, I said Kyler Murray's playing like he wants to play baseball right now.
Well, he was sliding and didn't want to be touched.
That's how bad he was playing last night. But my only reaction to Wild Card Weekend is I want to know if it's cooled off where you are there, Lauren, because you were on fire all darn weekend long. If you guys tailed Lauren, you guys probably should have made a lot of money. That and the fact that, between the Eagles and the Cardinals, you've watched really bad coaching and really bad quarterback play just sort of decimate two of those games that we were on the wrong side of on both of them for me. So nonetheless, it wasn't a bad weekend overall.
Me too. Those were my two really bad misses. No, I was just watching both of those games, and I'm thinking the same. Like in the Eagles game, I'm watching, and I'm like, why did I bet on Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts? That's like my first thought. I'm like, wait, Tom Brady's on the other side there.
Everyone loved that Eagles bet. Like so many people loved it.
And I think you love the number. I think you love the number more than anything.
And again, I got it at 8.5. And simply, look, this is a banged up Buccaneers team with literally nobody to throw the ball to other than Gronk. Leonard Fournette decided not to play, or he didn't play. I mean, everything looked like the Eagles were going to be able to at least keep this within a touchdown. But give credit to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensively. Like, they had such a great defensive game plan. They basically said, look, we're going to force Jalen Hurts to beat us with his arm. Did you see Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea dropping back in coverage? That's 660 pounds of beef in coverage. They just said, we're going to keep Jalen Hurts in front of us. We're going to force him to beat him with our arm. They didn't really pass rush. They sent like one guy. Everybody else just dropped back, and it was a great game plan by the Buccaneers. You tip your cap to them, and I capped it wrong. I thought the Eagles would keep it close, and nonetheless, I was out of a couple of coins after that one.
Hey, you know what? It's fine because I liked the points with the Steelers too, and that was my only loss of the weekend. And I got everyone. Well, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Everyone told me last weekend that my pick taking Jacksonville plus 15.5 was an absolute joke. Guess who won a lot of money on that bet? Me. I should have sprinkled the money line in that one. So I'm like, look, I'm going against the grain. I did it last week. I'm like, ooh, 12.5. I like that. I like getting that many points. Why not do it again? The Steelers defense is going to keep him in it. And then I forgot, the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. And then I realized,
you took 15.5 points with Carson Wentz. It's a little bit of a different scenario.
I'm like, the Steelers have Big Ben, who doesn't even have, he's basically playing like he doesn't have arms right now. So that was bad. That was a bad pick on me. Sorry anyone that tailed that pick, but going 5-1 on the weekend.
Yeah, you
pretty good.
Don't apologize.
Heading into Tuesday, guys. I'm looking forward to the divisional round this weekend. 4 big games. We'll talk about them a little later in the week. Today, though, we got some NBA talk. A couple games going on in the NBA today. We had a lot of games yesterday for MLK Day. Some really exciting games as well. Then we have NBA Morning Radar talking about the 2 games tonight. Talk a little bit about NBA futures with coaching, who we think is going to win the NBA championship this year. College basketball predictions. Couple big games tonight. We're going to break them down for you, give you our best picks. NHL Ice Picks. We're taking it to the ice. 8 games on the slate tonight, and then we can't end without our best bets of the day and our Pickswise 3-star play of the day. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. Let's bet it. NBA. Let's start talking about futures first because there's not that many games on the slate tonight, only 2 of them. Alex, I'll come to you first with this one. There's 5 coaches right now that have plus 700 or better odds for Coach of the Year. Who would you bet at this point of the season? We're right about halfway, maybe a little bit over halfway for most teams to take home this award so far halfway through the season.
So far, I think it's a 2-horse race for me. It's between JB Bickerstaff with the Cavs or Billy Donovan with the Bulls. These are 2 coaches that are doing a lot with, I guess Billy Donovan's doesn't have a little, but with JB Bickerstaff, there's not a lot on that Cavs roster, right? And they're getting it done with defense, doing it the old school way, grinding it out. And they're doing it without Colin Sexton too. I think people are forgetting that. I mean, that's so the job that Bickerstaff's doing with the Cavs is pretty impressive. And then Billy Donovan just has the Bulls sitting at the top of the East. And who would have guessed that going into this season? I mean, these are just two coaches that I think are overachieving with what they have, and they're doing a great job. So those would be my two picks.
Yeah, and the Cavs are doing without Ricky Rubio too. He's out for the season as well. So it's a lot of they're missing a lot of key pieces, and they're still playing pretty solid basketball, which is incredible. Zeno, what do you think?
I'm going to give you a name that you're probably going to roll your eyes at, and I understand why. But I would put a little nod in right now for Doc Rivers and the Philadelphia 76ers. Don't look, they've won 8 of 10. They're just 2.5 games out of first place in the East. Now, granted, there's 5 teams that they have to leapfrog, but given all Doc Rivers has had to deal with, Ben Simmons has been sitting out all year long and putting together a collection of teams and putting all this chaos together to get them to the top of the Eastern Conference. If they can get to the 1 or the 2 seed and make a deep run, I think he's got every single reason to be able to look at being coach of the year, given everything he had to deal with this offseason. Watch the 76ers. They're playing a really good brand of basketball right now. Don't sleep on Doc as possibly getting a coach of the year nod here in the East.
I know. I'm actually really curious what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. The trade deadline is looming right now, February 10th. I know a few teams are interested in him. I'm interested to see where he's going to go. Alex, where do you think? Who do you think is going to take a chance now on Ben Simmons to help their roster?
I mean, Ben Simmons is obviously a big name that's moving around. But did you guys also see James Harden saying that he would be interested in relocating?
Oh, really?
Like
No, I didn't see that.
that was interesting. Interesting. So a lot going on in Brooklyn. But I think that if you're talking about Ben Simmons, he's going to go to a team that doesn't need him to be that scorer. But he's an elite facilitator, obviously, an all NBA defender. So somebody that is looking for defense and a facilitator that doesn't necessarily need him to be the scorer and just a presence, right?
But somebody in the Western Conference, they're not trading him to anybody in the East unless they're a seller, right? That's just maniacally dumb. You're not going to trade it to the Knicks or anybody else who's going to be chasing you in the playoffs or whatever. Like, it's just not, the Hawks have been lobbied out there, at least by Hawks fans. Like, he's going to the Western Conference, like maybe Memphis or even Utah or somebody like that, that you don't have to see until the NBA Finals.
Yeah. I mean, Alex, you just mentioned the Nets, right? Right now, they're favored to win the NBA title, plus 245. Warriors at plus 475. Suns plus 700. Bucks also 7-1 odds. Right now, Zeno, I'm coming to you first. With I guess James Harden now in question, maybe with the Nets being interested going elsewhere, they're still favored to win the NBA title. Who would you bet on at this point, halfway through the season, to maybe have an outside chance, maybe a team to get some value on to win that NBA title this season? Because for me, I'm looking at the Bulls right now at 21-1 odds.
Yeah, a team like the Bulls is great. I mean, Memphis is the sexy team right now, right? Given how good they are on offense and where they are in the Western Conference, they might not be good enough to overtake Phoenix or Golden State for the 1 or the 2 seed. But as the 3 seed, they're in prime position to only have to face one of those teams at some point in time, and it could be in the semifinals because the other team could get eliminated in the other side of the Western Conference semifinals. So I think it sets up for them advantageous from a bracket standpoint. But one other thing with the Nets, guys, I mean, really, if you're betting on the Nets right now, you're betting on Kyrie Irving coming back, right? If Kyrie Irving goes and gets vaccinated and can play games at home at the Barclays.
Or if the Nets pay that $5,000.
Or the Nets choose to pay the $5,000 fine, right?
He was pretty clear in his post-game press conference the other day that
he's not getting vaccinated.
Right. So if the Nets are willing to pay the fine, whatever it may be, if they get Kyrie Irving back for the stretch run here through the middle of February to the end of the season, I don't think they're a beatable team. I think they are by far and away the best team in the league. I don't know that anybody can catch them when they have all 3, Durant, Irving, and Harden out on the court. So that's all you're betting on with the Nets at this point.
Yeah, I will say a lot of people said that last season, though, and then we saw what happened in the postseason. Like, someone can have a really, really great regular season, and there can be surprises that happen.
They were Kevin Durant's big toe away from beating the Bucks.
Okay, you go.
His big toe was on the line. If he was 6 inches back, they beat the Bucks.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
he's got a 6-inch big toe. That's massive.
Yeah, that's a really big.
Well, yeah, when you have a size 20 shoe or whatever. I mean, yeah.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Yeah, Alex, who do you choose right now to win the NBA title? Like, where do you find value? Are you betting on one of the favorites at this point?
Well, the team that I think has the most value, Zeno mentioned them. I mean, I like sexy, so I'm going with the Grizzlies. And
I like sexy.
He's talking about he doesn't know if they can catch the Warriors or the Suns. Already beat them. Already beat both of them. You know,
I mean,
they got big
standings to get the
one game. Well, I know it's not a series, but they already have wins against the Warriors, the Suns, the Lakers. We're really going to find out what they're about. This week actually, tomorrow play the Bucks. Then they have the Jazz coming up as well. They're a top 10 team in offense and defensive efficiency. John Morant, I believe, deserves to be in that MVP discussion.
Yeah.
And I really like this Grizzlies team. They get it done on both ends of the floor. They can shoot. This is a dangerous Grizzlies team, so I'd watch out for them. I think they got some. They're worth a flyer, in my opinion. Worth a flyer.
Halfway through the season, they're hitting their stride at the right time. It's going to be interesting to watch them down the stretch, what they're able to do, even this next week or two, heading into All-Star break coming up. I think it's like the week of February 17th, a couple weeks away. NBA Morning Radar. Only 2 games on the slate right now to really look at, break down, digest. One of them, Timberwolves versus Knicks. The Knicks playing the second leg of a back-to-back. They lost yesterday to the Hornets at MSG. Now the Timberwolves come in. They're trying to reach 500 in this game, 21-22 on the season. Alex, you like the Wolves in this one, huh?
Yeah, I do. And you kind of glossed over something when you mentioned the Knicks lost yesterday to the Hornets. There's no LaMelo Ball. No LaMelo Ball, and they still lost that game and only managed to score 87 points against the Hornets, one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Now we're on a second night of a back-to-back. This is a T-Wolves team, not a great defensive team, but still top 10 in defensive efficiency, I believe. And they can score. They have a lot of scores. They can do it in a lot of different ways. And I think that this is a bad spot for the Knicks tonight. I mean, just seeing them struggle offensively with the Hornets, they're going to need to score more than 87 points if they want to.
You locked it in, Alex, at 2.5, right? Timberwolves laying
2.5. 2.5.
Now I think it's up to 3.5. Would you still bet it at that?
I mean, that's crazy because it was 2.5 maybe 30 minutes ago. So, I mean, 3.5. I just don't see. I don't know about. I'm going to stay with my 2.5 number. I'm not going to, because the NBA gets kind of crazy. Sorry, Zeno, the Knicks fan here has got something to say. To be fair, the Knicks have been pretty good on back-to-backs this year.
Listen, I'm not here for any Knicks slander. Okay, let's just stop right now. 10-6 against the number since December 16th is the team that's getting up. Only gave up 97 points last night to the second highest scoring team in
LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball.
This is a legit defense.
And they still almost scored 100 points. No LaMelo Ball.
By the way, what my friend Alex Glaze is leaving out, and this is to his disadvantage because he doesn't seem to do the proper level of research on things. He's on a team that has 80% of the tickets, dude. Fade the public, man. Run away when there's 80% of the tickets on one team. Just run away. That's my little inside tip for you. But here's the other thing and what I like in this game tonight. Now, Glaze, I will give you a little nod because I don't necessarily know that I have enough faith to bet the Knicks.
After the weekend the public just had with the NFL, you're saying run away.
Different sport. Let's move on here. When you only have 4 games to choose from, right? When you only have 6 games to choose from, the public is forced to pick sides, right? It's not a full 16-game slate. So, anyway, I will agree with you. Look, it's a short number, and the Knicks do struggle offensively, but they have been good at home. I'm taking the under 213.5 in this spot. The Knicks, have only allowed an opponent to go over 100 2 times in the last 10 games, and they are 8-2 to the under in that span. Conversely, as well, Minnesota 7-3 to the under in their last 10 games. This is a spot here where if the Knicks are going to actually try to win this thing and keep it close, they will keep Minnesota, one of the higher scoring teams in the league, under 100 points tonight. It'll be a tight game. It'll be a close game. Too short of a number for me to back the Knicks on the line here, but I do like the total under 213.5.
Does it worry you at all? I mean, this isn't an efficient offense, talking about the Timberwolves here, but
only just 43% on the year.
But just like the Hornets, they push the pace. Rank, I believe, top 10, definitely top 10, maybe top 5, both of them in pace. Does the pace that they want to play at concern you when you're looking at that under?
No, just because defense can pace with you, right? It's when your offense tries to match them. I think the pace is contrasting styles. I'll take Minnesota's pace against the Knicks defense for the Knicks to win that battle or at least have a slight advantage. I agree. I don't like the Knicks to have to play offensive pace along with a team like Minnesota. But if the defense does what it's expected to do and what it's done over the last month or so, then I don't think the pace will be that much of an issue. It's a question of the Knicks just getting shots to fall.
Yeah, that's interesting. I want to move on to Pistons Warriors game. I don't think either of you guys are betting this game tonight, but want to talk about it for a second. Pistons, Alex, are starting a 4-game road trip. They've won 3 of their last 5 games. They're kind of feeling themselves a little bit right now. And Warriors, they're kind of in a spot where they need to start winning a couple games, right? They've lost 5 of the last 7, but they're massive favorites, 15-point favorites now in this game. Just what are you expecting from the Pistons on the West Coast? First game of a 4-game road trip. Do you think the Warriors just crush in this one?
I mean, the numbers tell you that the Warriors are going to crush in this one. I think the Warriors. I don't necessarily know if the Warriors are worried about the Pistons in this spot. They're more worried about the Warriors, right? So I think that what we're going to see is them try to hit their stride, especially offensively, as they try to get acclimated to Klay Thompson getting back in that offense, finding his rhythm. Steph Curry trying to get his rhythm back as well. So I think that's what we're going to see in this one. I'm not expecting a whole lot from the Pistons in this spot. I'm staying away because that 15 is a really big number that I'm not going to lay. Just because I want to enjoy my evening, hopefully better than more than I did last night. Last night was pretty miserable. So I'm staying away, but I think the Warriors are just going to try to get back to being the Warriors. It wouldn't surprise me if they covered this, but it also wouldn't surprise me if this was a 12-point win for them, which is still a big win in the NBA.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's take it from the men to the kids, AG, as you like to call them. Iowa State taking on Texas Tech tonight. Iowa State ranked 15th, Texas Tech ranked 19th. Texas Tech laying 8 points in this spot. Iowa State, they're coming off of a home win against Texas. Before that, though, they dropped 2 straight, 3 of their last 4. They're 2-3 in the Big 12 right now. Texas Tech lost their most recent outing to Kansas State, won 3 before that. Now they're 3-2 in the Big 12 this season. Zeno, how are you betting this game tonight?
I'm going to take the over. I was on Texas Tech in the game against Kansas on the wrong side and probably should have paid a little bit closer attention. I knew it was a fishy line when it was such a short number. I was trusting Texas Tech's defense and their ability to get their offense where it needed to be, and that's to 70 points. If Texas Tech doesn't get to 70, they're going to struggle in a lot of these games. Now, the previous matchup between these two teams, Texas Tech was missing their 2 top scorers in Kevin McCullough and Terrence Shannon. Both of those guys came back against K-State. Think the second game back, you'll see a little bit more rhythm from the Texas Tech offense. But the math of this boils down to me is that Texas Tech can get to 70. These are 2 very good defensive teams that played just 2 weeks ago in a very low-scoring contest. If the Red Raiders get to 70, this number will go over a total that has been rising. It was at 128 last night, 129 this morning. Now it's at 130 and a half at some shops. So it's on the rise. Get it now while you can. I still trust it because, again, if Texas Tech doesn't get to 70, they're probably not going to win this game. And that'll be dropping 2 in a row, one of them at home to what I would think are inferior opponents to this Texas Tech team. Has got one of the best defenses in the nation. Iowa State could struggle offensively, but I think they'll do enough to get to 60, and that gets me to 130 with Texas Tech at 70 and Iowa State at 60.
Both teams really, really strong on the defensive end of the floor. Red Raiders, I think they're 15th in the nation. No, Iowa State's 15th in the nation in scoring defense. Both teams are allowing less than 60 points per game. So that's going to be a big over. The offense
but both teams scoring the low 70s. So their offenses are competent, and some of that is against, those numbers are a little bit misleading.
You love a competent offense.
Well, I mean, again, I recognize some of those numbers are misleading when you're scoring 80 against Lipscomb and Alabama State. I get it. So the numbers are going to be a little bit inflated. That's why when you get into conference play as a handicapper, you just got to kind of focus on what their numbers are against conference opponents because it's more relevant data from that standpoint. But I just trust that Texas Tech offense now with the second game with Shannon and McCullough's back will be a lot more efficient than it was against K-State.
Yeah, Alex, are you betting this game at all? How are you betting it?
I haven't yet. I'm probably going to stay away, but I like Zeno's handicap because I'm also looking at Texas Tech's team total for tonight at 68.5. So that's pretty spot on for what he's saying there. I just think that this is, we saw Shannon come back against Kansas State, but, he's going to be more acclimated and ready to go in this spot. Texas Tech's also been really good at home, and I just think this is a really good bounce back spot for them after that bad loss because they played well in that game. It was just a really bad 10-minute stretch for them at a really bad time to have. But this is still a team that beat Kansas, beat Baylor without their best players, and I just think that they're going to bounce back eventually. And Iowa State, I don't know if I trust them on the road. I don't trust a conference rival on the road in this spot. So
let me just add one thing real quick. Sorry, Glaze, and I think it's important what you brought up about the team total. The way I look at it. It's almost a correlating bet situation. I could see a way where Texas Tech wins an under game. I don't see a way where Iowa State wins an over game, if that makes sense, right? If the number goes over
Yeah.
130, Iowa State's not going to be the team that's winning this game. I could see Iowa State winning an under. I could see Texas Tech winning an under. I just don't see Iowa State winning an over.
Yeah. Another game, that I know we're both on, Kansas taking on Oklahoma. I like Oklahoma money line in this spot, actually, at plus 134.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first because you're betting this game a little bit differently than me.
Yeah,
So
no,
give me
listen,
reasoning and I'll count.
I totally get your position on Oklahoma the money line. And in the total game, I struggled which side I wanted to be on. But I'm going to go back to a trend that was friendly to me earlier this year in college basketball, that Kansas in the first half led at half every game leading up to their conference game against Oklahoma State. It's now been 3 games in a row where they have yet to have a lead at half. I think they snapped that streak against Oklahoma, and the kind of basis for the handicap is that Oklahoma will play fast, as will Kansas. I think that favors Kansas, a slightly better offensive team, a slightly better shooting team, although Oklahoma is very, very good. I don't trust Kansas on the road against the number to win this game and cover it outright. So I understand where you are, Lauren, especially on the money line, getting better value. But I think because it's 1.5, Kansas minus 1.5 in the first half, if you're asking me to give Kansas a lead by the bucket in a sort of sprint out, shootout early first 20 minutes, I'll take the Jayhawks minus 1.5 in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas is really good this season. They won 12 of their first 13 games. Their lone loss came to Dayton in late November, right? They've struggled in recent trips to Norman, though. This is what I like. They covered only once in the last 5 games at Lloyd Noble Center. The offense ranks 5th in the country right now on Ken Palm adjusted efficiency ratings. They're shooting 9th best clip in college basketball, but the Sooners put together a strong non-conference campaign right now. 10 of the last 12 conference play. Not so good, 2-3 so far, but they're coming off consecutive road losses to Texas, TCU. I could feel this being a good bounce back spot for them. They've won 8 of their 9 home games, though, this season. They've covered the spread twice in their last 12 conference games. So that's why I don't necessarily love the spread. I love betting them straight up with the money line, and I love the value that I'm getting in it is at plus 136. The Sooners right now rank 55th in adjusted offensive efficiency. They're shooting the ball well. They're number 7th in effective field goal percentage. I think what holds them back right now is their turnover issues, their lack of offensive rebounding. For Kansas, this is a letdown spot for me in a road game coming off of a win over West Virginia. The Jayhawks only covered the spread once in the last 5 games to Norman. Okies coming off the loss to TCU in overtime. That was a close loss. They're going to be motivated for a game like this, and they're playing on home court. The Sooners, they're shooting well right now. I think if they can clean up the turnovers, they're going to be good offensively if they're able to do that. This game I think it's going to be close, but I think the home crowd is really going to help push the Sooners over the edge in this one. Oklahoma, good bounce back spot for them. Kansas, good letdown spot for them, as Jared would say. And I like the value that I'm getting in it, plus 134 on the money line. So lock me in, Sooners, just like Oklahoma, minus some Sooner.
I would say this one. There's a little bit of recency bias in why I couldn't pull the trigger on Oklahoma. Although I agree with everything that you said about the spot. That TCU game bothers me. TCU is a bad team. And Oklahoma only got in the low 60s in that game. It's like, what happened to your offense? Full disclosure, I didn't watch the game, but just looking at it and looking at the box score, I'm sitting here going, yeah, that's really unusual for this Oklahoma team. So either that was just a spot. I kind of need to see how they respond to this spot before I can trust them. I get the handicap and I agree with it. It's just not something I'm going to go to the window on.
Yeah, totally. Alex, what do you think about it?
I think that Kansas is 3-1 against the spread, one favored than less than 10 points this season. And I agree with everything you're saying. I don't trust Kansas in this spot at all. I mean, this is going to be a tough spot for them, because for Oklahoma, you just have to think about, like, this has got to be the biggest game for them so far this season, right? I mean, you got Kansas coming to your house. I mean, they're gonna be up for this game for sure.
House.
So, yeah, I mean, you got to protect your house, right? I mean, that's what you got to do.
Protect his house.
Absolutely. So we're gonna see what's going on. But like Zeno said, that loss to TCU is concerning.
It wasn't a good loss.
It's concerning for me.
It was a close game. It came down to overtime. It was close the entire time. They just
Yeah.
couldn't. I mean, they were having a hard time getting shots to fall. So, like, people have those nights. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's a good bounce back
I
spot.
don't have off nights, Lauren. I don't ever have off nights.
I don't know.
Must be nice.
Yeah, what's that like, huh? Okay, let's take it to the ice. There's 8 games on the slate tonight. I'm really excited about a lot of these. I know Alex is like fired up to talk about his Stars pick.
My
Tell me
Stars.
more about it, Alex. Let's take it to Dallas.
My stars. I'm going with the stars on the puck line tonight. This is probably my favorite play for the day. Second favorite. It's not my play
Yeah,
of the
because
day.
it's not your best bet of the
It's
day.
not my
It
play
is
of the
a
day.
good
So it's my
play.
second favorite play for the day, but I
Okay.
really like this play also. Listen, they're playing a bad Canadians team, right? Canadians have lost 4 games. Their last 4 losses, 4 of their last 5 losses have been by 2 or more goals. And we're gonna see a backup goalie between the pipes today. We got Sam Montebu between the pipes. He struggled this season. 1-6-3 with 3.89 goals against average. I mean, it's a tough spot for him because he doesn't really have a whole lot of offense to back him up either. The Canadians, bottom of the league, when you look at scoring offense and goals per game average, just not a good spot. This is a Dallas team that needs a win, and they've been great at home this season, 14-3-1. So I'm looking at the numbers. I like Dallas to get it done by 2 goals or more.
Puck line, baby. You
Puck
love to see
puck
it.
line.
Zeno, let's take you to Philadelphia because you're on the Flyers tonight in a couple ways.
Yeah, well, I hate to bet against the Islanders as an Islander fan, but Philadelphia's
Against
lost
your team.
I know Philadelphia's lost 8 straight, including last night to the Islanders 4-1.
Yeah.
So they're looking to snap this awful losing streak that they're on. The bigger play I have here is the under 5.5 goals. The Islanders are coming in with 4 straight unders. Philly's coming in with 5 straight unders. In the last 7, the Islanders have only allowed or been in a game that's had more than 5.5 goals once, and that was against Vegas, one of the highest scoring teams in the league. And over the last 7, Philadelphia has only been in 2 games where they've gone over 5.5. So they're 5-2 to the under in their last 7. Goaltending tonight, whether it's Ilya Sorokin or Semyon Varlamov for the Islanders, both of those guys under 2.5 goals against. Carter Hart for Philadelphia, he's at 2.9 goals against. So these are 2 really bad offenses, both of them bottom 6 in the league in goals scored. I don't even know it's a trend so much as I'm just betting on 2 bad offensive teams to have another bad offensive night. I couldn't back the Islanders just because they won handily last night. And I think that the Philadelphia Flyers will respond. So I'll take the Flyers plus the 1.5. Just allowing me the Islanders still to get a 1-goal win or the Flyers to win outright. So I kind of can emotionally hedge betting against the Islanders here that they can win by a goal and I can still cover. So give me the under 5.5 goals in Philadelphia plus 1.5.
You want your cake and you want to eat it too.
Yes,
Zeno.
I do.
I
Exactly.
I absolutely love it. Yeah, and the Islanders are one of those teams that they're really strong defensively. Again, I said this to Jared the other day. They just muck up the neutral zone. They make it difficult for other teams to even get good shots, good looks on net. And it's going to be a really, really low scoring game. I agree with you on that one. I actually might tell you on that bet, the under 5.5. I have 2 good puck bets tonight. I'll save one for a second because it's my best bet of the day. I'm taking it to the Jets Caps game, but we'll save that for best bets. Before that, Lightning taking on the Kings in LA. Lightning, I like their 3-way money line at -110. That's the way to bet them to win the game, but get the best value out of it. They're 2 of the hottest teams in the league right now. Tampa Bay won their 3rd straight game when they beat Dallas. They're 5-2-0 in January, 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. LA also riding a 4-game winning streak, 5-1-0 in January. They're on the second half of a back-to-back. They took on the Sharks yesterday. They're also 5-1 against the spread in their last 6. Now, Tampa Bay ranks 8th in the league right now in goals per game, 3.33, and 4th in shooting percentage. They're really, really good offensively. Nikita Kucherov been on fire, 9 points in his last 5 games. LA, they're lower in the league right now with they're 21st in goals per game. Trevor Moore, though, he's been really, really good. 6 assists, 7 points in the last 5 games. They're 4th in the league right now in goals allowed per game at 2.53. I think this is going to be a game, a battle of hot goaltenders. It's going to be close. It's going to be a tight checking game. Tampa has some advantages. One, they have rested legs. LA playing in the second game of a back-to-back. Special teams for the Lightning right now, performing better. They're producing more than a half a goal per game on their power play, which is really, really good to be averaging over a half of a goal a game. Kings, also really good and ranking the top 3rd in the league in shot differential, opponent shooting percentage, save percentage, and goals against average. I think it's going to be tough to slow down Tampa, though. It's still not enough to get it done. I like Tampa Bay. 3-way money line, -110 on the road in LA. Go to a late night matchup. Alex, you'll probably be sleeping before this puck drops tonight, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll update you on the score in the morning. So
Appreciate it.
All right, let's get into our Pickswise 3-star plays of the day. Who we got, AG, on the website, Pickswise.
Well, on the website, we have Matt Weisenfeld, and he is going actually against your Oklahoma pick. He is going with Kansas to win, and he is laying the 3.5 points. That is his 3-star play of the day.
Makes me feel good about my first half bet.
Well, now we got to choose between Matt or Lauren. I mean, so tough picking for the Pickswise people. But yeah, that's the 3-star play on the website.
Make sure to check it out online, pickswise.com. There's a lot of 3-star bets usually every single day, if not good 2-star bets as well. A lot of really great ideas to get you a little bit of quiche in your pocket. So check it out, pickswise.com. All right, our best bets of the day. AG, you go first.
All right, I'm going to the.
This is your first favorite bet of the day.
This is my favorite play of the day. And I'm going to the ice. I'm going to the Florida Panthers. Are the Panthers the best team in hockey right now? Are they?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. The Avs are looking pretty good too.
Okay. I mean, I can't argue with the Avs. I mean, they were my. I mean, I got
the best offense in the game, if not the best offense in the game. So,
I mean, but these past 8 games. I mean, they're on an 8-game win streak. I mean, they're absolutely rolling right now. So I'm going to ride them tonight. I mean, they're going to face a bad Flames team, or a struggling Flames team, I should say. Flames are still probably pretty good, but they're struggling right now, and this is not a team you want to be struggling against. Talking about the Florida Panthers, they just played a couple weeks ago, and the Panthers absolutely handled them, and I think that they're going to be able to handle them again tonight. They've been outscoring their opponents 49-18 in this 8-game stretch. Calgary's lost 4 straight and been outscored 20-7. So not a good spot for the Flames. I love this spot for the Panthers, so I'm going with the Panthers three-way money line tonight.
His number one favorite bet of the day. Let's take it to the court really quick, and then I'll bring it back to the ice. Then I'll give me yours.
I'm going to go with the Knicks, Minnesota Timberwolves under 213.5. As I said, the Knicks defense just been dominating as of late. Only allowed 2 opponents in the last 10 games to score more than 100 points. I don't know if I have to worry about the Knicks scoring more than 100 points. Their offense is pretty bad these days. But if they can check Minnesota the way I expect them to, and despite the fact that the Knicks are on the tail end of a back-to-back and it should favor Minnesota, I'm going to take the under 213.5 tonight. Let's go Knicks. Be sure to rage text Alex at about 7:45 when Timberwolves have scored 41 points in the first quarter. So
love getting the Zeno rage text. Those come few and far between. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how it works out for you, Zeno, this weekend. Okay, I'm taking it back to the ice. The Jets in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. I like the Caps in this spot. They're 3-way money line at +110. They've lost 5 of the last 6 games. And also 5 of their last 6 home games. You're like, Lauren, why are you betting on them? Let me tell you, they're riding a 3-game skid right now. The worst run of results for the Caps so far this season. But Ilya Samsonov, 13-4-3 on the season right now, 2.77 goals against average, and 91.1% save percentage. They won against the Jets already this season. They had a 2.00 goals against average, 0.952 save percentage. They're 10th in the league right now in goals scored and goals allowed per game. The goals allowed isn't necessarily I don't know. When you're sitting at 10th in both of those, it's pretty good. You're not the best, but you're at the top of the league right now. The Jets, though, they've won 4 of the last 5, so they're on a good streak. They're traveling to the nation's capital. They have 4 wins in 6 games since Dave Lowry replaced Paul Maurice as head coach, too. So they're clicking under a new head coach. Connor Hellebuck, also good on the season, 14-10-4, with 2.73 goals against average. Jets 16th in the league right now in goals scored and 13 in goals allowed per game. The Jets, though, not great on the PK this year. Only a 71% effectiveness right now. And Winnipeg dropped 20 of their last 26 trips to Washington. 8-game losing skid for the Jets in Washington, D.C. So the Caps, even though they haven't had the strongest recent stretch, I think this is a good bounce back spot for them on home ice. They've won 19 of the last 26 games on the last night. Okay, I follow this. I was looking up these stats and I'm like, they've won 19 of the last 26 games on the last night of a 3-game in 4 days scenario. So this is the 3rd game in 4 days, and they basically have gone 19 and 26, or 19 of 26 in situations like that. So I like them on home ice in front of a home crowd. Good bounce back spot for them against a Jets team who, has been really good, hasn't necessarily been good in the nation's capital. This is a lean for me, but I feel good about a lean, and I like the value that I'm getting at too. Caps 3-way money line at +110. So lock it in. We're feeling good about it. Nation's capital, baby. Let's go.
I got a question for you about the Caps because I'm a Caps fan. What's up with their goaltending? They need to figure that out because this is there's a lot of expectations with the Caps, right? And that's going to be a problem long term for them.
Yeah, but Ilya Samsonov, he's still 13-4-3 on the season right now. I mean, it's a pretty good record last
You
time
gotta
I checked.
understand the standard.
2.77.
The standard.
Yeah, that's true. I know, they need to figure it out. I mean, they have such good talent and they have so many good players. They just need to figure out a way to click right now because they're going through a rough stretch. But guess what, Alex? It starts tonight. It starts
All
tonight.
right.
We must protect this house. And I'll leave it at that, guys. That is it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Alex Glaze, Mark Zinno, Lauren Jabbar. Best of luck tonight. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it.